Have you ever noticed that when you try to spice things up for the better, you quickly learn how hard it is to deliver that spice every night? Well, that's what the Lao kids found out in the episode I'm going to talk about today. So join me as I, SteamTeamRedubUK, CC Trainor-Ling, bring you another retro review from past seasons of The Loud House. Cue the intro! Today's episode is Fed Up. In this episode, the kids try to sabotage their dad's repetitive dinner plan so they can eat something different for once. This was the episode where Lin Sr.'s passion for cooking was more thoroughly on display, and our first official introduction to the culinary side of his character was in the form of making the same 7 dinners every week. My only nitpick about this repetition is how it's not really consistent with previous episodes where he serves food that's not part of the menu he uses in this episode. But regardless, the kids grow bored of eating the same thing day in and day out, and this leads to a fun little sequence with them trying to buck the system. Speaking of the kids, the antics they perform throughout the episode were the biggest highlights. The kids try to stop their dad from making goulash by stealing his ingredients and then prevent him from going back to the store. Next, they begin sabotaging his plan to make a different meal from the same menu, and they really go out of their way to stop him, even going so far as to knock the power out of their house. Seriously, their dad was going to do whatever it was going to take just so he wouldn't have to admit failure in keeping the weekly dinner menu somewhat consistent, and his kids were going to do whatever it was going to take just so they could get their hands on pizza, and they ultimately got what they wanted. However, the parents figure out what their kids had done, and that's when Lincoln suggests he and his sisters make the next dinner to prove they can mix up the menu with something different. As expected, they all can't agree on one dinner item, and so they decide to make their own dishes so everyone will have nothing to complain about. Of course, this leads to a crazy fight in the kitchen with all their dinners being ruined, so they have to put together something totally gross and inedible, and they learn that cooking isn't so easy, especially when you're on a budget. Now we come to the ending, and I really liked how it played out. Not only does Lin Sr. demonstrate his cooking skills by conjuring up a makeshift casserole from whatever was left in the kitchen, but he too learned his lesson on how mixing up the menu can be to everyone's benefit. If there's one more positive worth mentioning, it would be the comedy that plays throughout the episode. Some of the funniest moments include Lin Sr. trying to make dinner by any means necessary, and of course getting scared by pot raccoons in the process. There's also the part where the kids pose in the same manner they do in the opening credits of the theme song. Then there's Lola giving a big ol' smile when she says she won't keep the promise of never complaining about her dad's food ever again. Finally, and this one really caught my attention, Lenny provided her own unique brand of comedy. She was dumb enough to hide the goulash ingredients in her dad's night clothes. Lincoln asks, "Why would you hide the meat in dad's slippers?" And she's like, "Because his pockets were full of pasta." She also changed her clothes just for the occasion of eating her dad's makeshift casserole. It wasn't really ha-ha funny, but it was funny in a cute way that she felt the need to wear a red dress just for one specific dinner. Overall, despite the little inconsistency with the dad making the same 7 meals every week when previous episodes prior to season 2 indicate how that was never the case, this episode is still really fun to watch. It did a good job of illustrating Lin Sr.'s talent as a cook, the kids worked together to commit some much needed sabotage when it came to dinner plans, and the comedy from all the main characters was very well done. All the kids had something to contribute to the plot and subsequent sabotage, even Lily when she threw down her rattle so her dad would fall and ruin what would have been a variant of the same dinner item, and everyone learned their respective lessons on what it means to cook for a family. With that said, I give Fed Up a 9.1 out of 10. Well folks, that concludes my review of Fed Up. So I gotta ask, what did you guys think of this episode? Sound off in the comments below, and be sure to click that subscribe button for more Loud House related content. That's going to do it for me. I'll catch you guys for the next video, but until then, this is SteamTeamRedubUK, CC Trainor-Ling, signing off. Peace out, home slices.